Hello. How are you guys? Sorry. Jesus. What the? Did my Photoshop fucking crash? Dude, no way. Hello? What the fuck is going on? Everything doesn't seem to be working. Like, for real, what the fuck's going on? When's the last time that I saved? Fuck. Nah. It's okay. Don't need to screenshot it. Photoshop has a pretty good backup, and I think I have it in my. So that's as far as it went back before, but if I go like this, because I've been putting things in my clipboard. And we're gonna open up cloth. Oh, I actually even had it. Okay, so I have completely up to date. Nice. Oh, this is the PSB. I should be working on this. I wonder. Okay. What kind of what do we want to listen to right now? We've been listening to this for the last while. Yeah, let's try this. I don't know why my YouTube just keeps restarting. It's fucking annoying. I think that has something to do with ad block. Prefamulated amuli.
are the parameters. Such an instrument comprised of quad gears and bearings, reliance electric motors, counter-gravity controls, and all monitored by Rockwell software is Rockwell Automation's retrocalculator. Now basically, the only new principle involved is that instead of power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it's produced by the modal interaction of the reluctance and the flux of the magnets. The original machine had a base plate of 3.9 vanillite surrounded by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the tubes would be buried with a direct line to the panometric fan. The lineup consisted simply of 6 hydrocopper bars of base, so fitted to the amplification fluid of wing shaft and side firing was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the normal Lotus deltoid type placed in pan-curving semi-boloid slots of the stator. Every seventh conductor being connected by a non-reversible training pipe to the differential gimbal spring on the automatic parameters. Moreover, whenever fluorescent score motion is required, it may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation gimbal line to reduce sinusoidal degeneration. The retroencagulator has now reached a high level of development and is being successfully used in the operation of Milford Trunnions. It's available soon wherever Rockwell Automation products are sold.
Should have covered some of this ground in Luxembourg. Fuck that up. Something like this, Jimmy. Let me walk you through our Donnelly nut spacing and crack system. Then grinding feel the cuts and scraps, brass-fitted nickel slits, our bracketed cap, and splay flex and brace bars, bent ends, empty hatch steps, 1/2 then crown to the surface. Out. 12 Flex tandems press a cask apparatus of 10 vertically composited
Preface of A Dictionary of English Synonyms by Richard Sowell, read for LibriVox.org by Betsy Bush. A dictionary of English synonyms and synonymous or parallel expressions designed as a practical guide to aptness and variety of phraseology by Richard Sowell. Preface. The main design of this dictionary is to provide a ready means of assistance when one is at a loss for a word or an expression that best suits a particular turn of thought or mood of the mind, or that may obviate an ungraceful repetition. Even practiced and skillful writers are sometimes embarrassed in the endeavor to make a sentence more clear, simple, terse, or rhythmical by the substitution of one form of diction for another. It is presumed that they, as well as novices in composition, will find the present work useful in overcoming difficulties of this sort. As to the method of using it, whenever a doubt arises in regard to the fitness of any word, and a better one is not readily suggested, let the writer turn to this word in its alphabetical place. Under it will be found the words and phrases, or some clue to the words and phrases, which in any connection have the same meaning as itself, or a meaning very nearly the same. That one of them, which comes nearest to expressing the exact shade of thought in the writer's mind, will be likely to arrest the attention and determine the choice. In most cases, all the words that belong in any group will be found in that group. But in some instances, as when the same word falls into two or more groups that are near to each other, or when there are so many synonyms for a word that a repetition of every one of them under each in its alphabetical place would seem to be too formal and prolix, the inquirer is referred to some prominent word among them for a view of the whole. Under the word blockhead, for example, reference is made to the word dunce, printed for this purpose in small capitals, as here, under which will be found all the words that are synonymous with it. This example is given because it is the most marked one in our language of a multiplicity.
A prefix also and before a vowels.
A base, to lower in position.
Unit 6. EQU is PLE/plan METR/meter AUD sun equalize meets, or make things equal. Things that are equivalent have the same value, use, or meaning. All three sides of an equilateral triangle are of the same length. And an equation, for instance, 21 plus 47 is equal to 68, is a statement that two mathematical expressions are equal. Equable, 1, tending to remain calm. 2, free from harsh changes or extreme variation. Her friends thought it odd that such an equable woman had married a man so moody and unpredictable. Equable usually describes either climate or personality. The word seems to be used less today than in decades past, maybe because the personality type is less admired than it used to be. A steady, calm, equable personality may not produce much excitement, but usually makes for a good worker and a good parent, and maybe even a longer life. In the words of the poet Robert Service, avoid extremes, be moderate/in saving and in spending /in equable and easy gate / will win an easy ending. Adequacy being equal to some need or requirement. Environmentalists doubt the adequacy of these regulations to protect the wilderness areas. When we question the adequacy of healthcare coverage, or parking facilities, or school funding, we're asking if they are equal to our need. The adjective adequate means enough or acceptable, though in sentences like his performance was adequate, it really means no better than acceptable. Equilibrium, 1, a state in which opposing forces are balanced so that one is not stronger or greater than the other. 2, a state of emotional balance or calmness. The news had come as a shock, and it took him several minutes to recover his equilibrium. Equilibrium contains a root from the Latin libra, meaning weight or balance. As a constellation, zodiac symbol, and astrological sign, Libra is usually pictured as a set of balance scales, often held by the blindfolded goddess of justice, which symbolizes fairness, equality, and justice. Equilibrium has special meanings in biology, chemistry, physics, and economics, but in all of them it refers to the balance of competing influences. Equinox, a day when day and night are the same length. She and her friends got together for an equinox party twice a year to celebrate the arrival of the fall and the spring. If you know that nox means night in Latin, it's not hard to remember the meaning of equinox. There are 2 equinoxes in the year, the spring equinox, around March 21st, and the fall equinox, around September 23rd. The equinoxes are contrasted with the solstices, when the sun is farthest north and south of the equator. The summer solstice occurs around June 22nd, the longest day of the year, the winter solstice around December 22nd, the shortest day. Quis is derived from the Latin verb meaning to seek or obtain. The roots care, queer, and case are derived from the same Latin verb and give us words such as inquiry and question. Inquisition, a questioning or examining that is often harsh or severe. The president's first choice for the job turned him down, fearing the Senate hearings would turn into an inquisition into her past. While an inquiry can be almost any search for truth, the related word inquisition suggests a long, thorough investigation that involves extensive and harsh questioning. Though the 2 words originally had about the same meaning, today inquisition tends to remind us of the Spanish Inquisition, an ongoing trial conducted by church-appointed inquisitors that began in the Middle Ages and sought out non-believers, Jews, and Muslims, thousands of whom were sentenced to torture and to burning at the stake. Perquisite: 1. A privilege or profit that is provided in addition to one's base salary. 2. Something claimed as an exclusive possession or right. A new car, a big house, and yearly trips to Europe were among the perquisites that made the presidency of Windham College such an attractive position. Though the Latin source of perquisite originally meant something insistently asked for, the ask meaning has mostly vanished from the English word. A perquisite, often called simply a perk, is instead something of value that the holder of a particular job or position is entitled to, usually without even asking. The President of the United States, for instance, enjoys as perquisites the use of Camp David and Air Force One. Perhaps because perquisites are usually available to only a small number of people, the word sometimes refers to non-job-related privileges that are claimed as exclusive rights. Acquisitive, eager to acquire, greedy. With each year, the couple became more madly acquisitive, buying jewelry, a huge yacht, and 2 country estates. Unlike most tribal peoples and the populations of some older countries, we Americans live in an acquisitive society, a society devoted to getting and spending. And America often makes successfully acquisitive people into heroes. Even Ebenezer Scrooge, that model of miserly greed and acquisitiveness, was once defended by a White House chief of staff. An acquisitive nation may seek to acquire other territories by force. But mental acquisition of specialized knowledge or skills, or new vocabulary, doesn't deprive others of the same information. PLE/PLEN comes from a Latin word meaning to fill. It can be seen in the words plenty, meaning basically filled, and complete, meaning thoroughly filled. Plenary, 1. Including all who have a right to attend. 2. Complete in all ways. For the convention's plenary session, 5,000 members gathered to hear a star speaker. Plenary often shows up in writing referring to the plenary power held by a government, and is particularly used for powers mentioned in a constitution. For example, under the U.S. Constitution, the Congress has plenary power to wage war, which means that no one else, not the courts, not the states, not the president, has any power whatsoever to second-guess Congress about war-making. But in recent years, that hasn't stopped some presidents from starting conflicts that looked a lot like wars to most people. At a conference, the plenary sessions, unlike the various smaller presentations, workshops, forums, and seminars that otherwise fill the day, try to bring everyone together in the same room. Complement: 1. Something that fills up or makes perfect, the amount needed to make something complete. 2. A counterpart. On the committee, the 2 young people provided an energetic compliment to the older members. A compliment fills out or balances something. We think of salt as the complement of pepper, maybe mostly because of their colors, and the right necktie is a perfect complement to a good suit. Complement can also mean the full quantity, number, or amount. Thus, a ship's complement of officers and crew is the whole force necessary for full operation. Complement is actually most common as a verb. We may say, for example, that a bright blue scarf complements a cream-colored outfit beautifully. Don't confuse compliment with compliment, which means an expression of respect or affection. Deplete to reduce in amount by using up. Years of farming on the same small plot of land had left the soil depleted of minerals. The de prefix often means do the opposite of, so deplete means the opposite of fill. Thus, for example, a kitchen's food supplies can be rapidly depleted by hungry teenagers. But deplete often suggests something more serious. Desertions can deplete an army, layoffs can deplete an office staff, and too much time in bed can rapidly deplete your muscular strength. Replete fully or abundantly filled or supplied. The professor's autobiography was replete with scandalous anecdotes about campus life in the 1950s. Replete implies that something is filled almost to capacity. Autumn landscapes in New England are replete with colorful foliage. Supermarket tabloids are always replete with details of stars' lives, whether real or imaginary. And a professor may complain that most of the papers she received were replete with errors in grammar and punctuation. METR/meter comes to us from Greek by way of Latin. In both languages it refers to measure. A thermometer measures heat, a perimeter is the measure around something, and things that are isometric are equal in measure. Metric, 1. Relating to or based on the metric system. 2. Relating to or arranged in meter. Americans have resisted using the metric system for years, but are now slowly getting accustomed to a few of the metric units. The metric system was invented in France in the years following the French Revolution, and a version of it is now used in most of the world to measure distance, weight, and volume. Basic metric units include the kilogram, the basic unit of weight, the liter, the basic unit of volume, and of course the meter, the basic unit of length, see below. Metric, or more often metrical, can also refer to the basic underlying rhythm of songs and poetry. So while the scientists' measurements are usually metric, the poets are usually metrical. Meter, 1, the basic metric unit of length, equal to about 39.37 inches. 2, a systematic rhythm in poetry or music. The basic meter of the piece was 3 out of 4, but its rhythms were so complicated that the 3 out of 4 was sometimes hard to hear. Meter is a metric measurement slightly longer than a yard, thus, a 100-meter dash might take you a second longer than a 100-yard dash. But the word has a different sense in music, where people aren't separated by whether they use the metric system. For a musician, the meter is the regular background rhythm, expressed by the time signature written at the beginning of a piece or section. 2 out of 2, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 8, 4 fourths, 6 out of 8, etc. Within a meter, you can create rhythms that range from the simple to the complex. So, for example, America the Beautiful is in 4/4 meter, or 4/4 time, but so are most of the rhythmically complex songs written by Paul Simon, Burt Bacharach, or Stevie Wonder. In ordinary conversation, though, most people use rhythm to include meter and everything that's built on top of it. In poetry, meter has much the same meaning. However, poetic meters aren't named with numbers, but instead with traditional Greek and Latin terms such as iambic and dactylic. Odometer, an instrument used to measure distance traveled. Jennifer watched the odometer to see how far she would have to drive to her new job. Odometer includes the root from the Greek word odos, meaning road or trip. An odometer shares space on your dashboard with a speedometer, a tachometer, and maybe a trip meter. The odometer is what crooked car salesmen tamper with when they want to reduce the mileage a car registers as having traveled. One of life's little pleasures is watching the odometer as all the numbers change at the same time. AUD, from the Latin An audience is a group of listeners, sometimes seated in an auditorium. And audio today can mean almost anything that has to do with sound. Auditor, a person who formally examines and verifies financial accounts. It seems impossible that so many banks could have gotten into so much trouble if their auditors had been doing their jobs. The auditing of a company's financial records by independent examiners on a regular basis is necessary to prevent cooking the books, and thus, to keep the company honest. We don't normally think of auditors as listening, since looking at and adding up numbers is their basic line of work, but auditors do have to listen to people's explanations, and perhaps that's the historical link. Hearing is more obviously part of another meaning of audit, the kind that college students do when they sit in on a class without taking exams or receiving an official grade. Auditory, 1. Perceived or experienced through hearing. 2. Of or relating to the sense or organs of hearing. With the surround sound systems in most theaters, going to a movie is now an auditory experience as much as a visual one. Auditory is close in meaning to acoustic and acoustical, but auditory usually refers more to hearing than to sound. For instance, many dogs have great auditory, not acoustic, powers, and the auditory nerve lets us hear by connecting the inner ear to the brain. Acoustic and acoustical instead refer especially to instruments and the conditions under which sound can be heard, so architects concern themselves with the acoustic properties of an auditorium, and instrument makers with those of a clarinet or piano. Audition, a trial performance to evaluate a performer's skills. Auditions for Broadway shows attract so many hopeful unknown performers that everyone in the business calls them cattle calls. Most stars are discovered at auditions, where a number of candidates read the same part and the director chooses. Lana Turner famously skipped the audition process and was instead discovered by an agent sipping a soda in a Sunset Boulevard cafe at age 16. Audition can also be a verb, so, for example, after Miss Turner gained her stardom, actors had to audition to be her leading man. But when musicians audition for a job in an orchestra, it's usually behind a screen so that the judges won't even know their sex and therefore can't do anything but listen. Inaudible, not heard or capable of being heard. The coach spoke to her in a low voice that was inaudible to the rest of the gymnastics team. With its negative prefix in dash, inaudible means the opposite of audible. What's clearly audible to you may be inaudible to your elderly grandfather. Modern spy technology can turn inaudible conversations into audible ones with the use of high-powered directional microphones. So if you think you're being spied on, make sure there's a lot of other noise around you. And if you don't want everyone around you to know you're bored, keep your size inaudible. Son is the Latin verb meaning sound. Sonata, meaning a piece for one or two instruments, was originally an Italian verb meaning sounded. When singers were involved, the Italians used a different verb. And sonorous means full, loud, or rich in sound. Sonic, 1. Having to do with sound. 2. Having to do with the speed of sound in air, about 750 miles per hour. A sonic depth finder can easily determine the depth of a lake by bouncing a sound signal off the bottom. A sonic boom is an explosive sound created by a shock wave formed at the nose of an aircraft. In 1947, a plane piloted by Chuck Yeager burst the sound barrier and created the first sonic boom. In the decades afterward, sonic booms became a familiar sound to Americans. Because of steps that were eventually taken, sonic booms are rarely heard anymore. Today, sonic is often used by ambitious rock musicians to describe their experimental sounds. Dissonant, 1. Clashing or discordant, especially in music. 2. Incompatible or disagreeing. Critics of the healthcare plan pointed to its two seemingly dissonant goals: cost containment, which would try to control spending, and universal coverage, which could increase spending. Since dissonant includes the negative prefix dis-dash, what is dissonant sounds or feels unresolved, unharmonic, and clashing. Early in the 20th century, composers such as Arnold Schoenberg and his students developed the use of dissonance in music as a style in itself. But to many listeners, the sounds in such music are still unbearable, and most continue to prefer music based on traditional tonality. Dissonant is now often used without referring to sound at all. Cognitive dissonance, for example, is what happens when you believe two different things that can't actually both be true. Resonance, 1. A continuing or echoing of sound. 2. A richness and variety in the depth and quality of sound. The resonance of James Earl Jones's vocal tones in such roles as Darth Vader made his voice one of the most recognizable of its time. Many of the finest musical instruments possess a high degree of resonance which, by producing additional vibrations and echoes of the original sound, enriches and amplifies it. Violins made by the Italian masters Stradivari and Guarneri possess a quality of resonance that later violin makers have never precisely duplicated. And you may have noticed how a particular note will start something in a room buzzing, as one of the touching surfaces begins to resonate with the note. Because of that, resonance and resonate, along with the adjective resonant, aren't always used to describe sound. For example, you may say that a novel resonates strongly with you.
Dude, this is so fucking psychotic. What I was doing just there, nobody stopped me. Why? Why didn't anybody stop me? What I was doing was fucking psychotic. Hello? I'm listening to the fucking vocabulary I was just listening to this. Can you hear this?
ERR, from the Latin verb errare, means to wander or to stray. The root is seen in the word error, meaning a wandering or straying from what is correct or true. Erratum, plural, errata, is Latin for mistake, so an errata page is a book page that lists mistakes found too late to correct before the book's publication.
Just,
Errand, 1. Wandering
just
or moving
fucking
about
psychotic.
2. Straying outside proper bounds, or away from an accepted pattern or standard. Modern-day
What's up,
pilots
Fuwan?
have been known to use helicopters to spot errant calves. Errant means both wandering and mistaken. A knight-errant was a wandering knight who went about slaying dragons or rescuing damsels in distress, at least when he was on good behavior. Errant is an old-fashioned spelling of errant. An errant knave, the phrase comes from Shakespeare, is an extremely untrustworthy individual. An errant sock might be one that's gotten lost, an errant politician might be one who's been caught cheating, and an errant cloud might be one that floats by all alone in a deep blue sky on a summer day. Aberrant straying, or different from the right, normal, or natural type. Sullivan's increasingly aberrant behavior
I'm just
was leading his friends to
going
question his mental
insane.
stability. Something aberrant has wandered away from the usual path or form. The word is generally used in a negative way. Aberrant behavior, for example, may be a symptom of other problems. But the discovery of an aberrant variety of a species can be exciting news to a biologist, and identifying an aberrant gene has led the way to new treatments for
You
diseases.
guys fucking
Erratic,
call me out
1.
as
Having
aberrant
no
right
fixed
now.
course. 2. Lacking in consistency. In the 1993 World Series, the Phillies weren't helped by the erratic performance of their ace relief pitcher, Wild Thing. Erratic can refer to literal wandering. A missile that loses its guidance system may follow an erratic path, and a river with lots of twists and bends is said to have an erratic course. Erratic can also mean inconsistent or irregular. So a stock market that often changes direction is said to be acting erratically. An erratic heartbeat can be cause for concern, and if your car idles erratically, it may mean that something's wrong with the spark plug wiring. Erroneous, mistaken, incorrect.
Oh, shit. Did you
For
know?
years her parents had had an erroneous idea of her intelligence, because she didn't begin to talk until the age of 6. Erroneous
spark
basically
plug?
means containing errors, and, since most of us are constantly suffering from mistaken notions, the word is often used in front of words such as assumption and idea. It's also used to describe the kind of mistaken information that can lead to erroneous theories, erroneous conclusions, and erroneous decisions. Sed comes from the Latin verb cedere, meaning to proceed or to yield. Proceed itself employs the root, as does recede, and their related nouns procession and recession employ another form of the Latin verb. Cede to give up, especially by treaty, yield. Their 88-year-old father reluctantly ceded control over his finances to 2 of the children this year. Cede is often a formal term used in discussing territory and rights, but is also used less formally. So, for example, Spain ceded Puerto Rico to the U.S. in 1898, following the Spanish-American War, and the U.S. ceded control of the Panama Canal to Panama in 1999. Critics warn that we are ceding leadership in alternative energy technology to China. Citizens of one European country or another are always worrying that their own country is ceding too much power to the European
Oh
Union.
my god, drive
A
me.
tennis player doesn't have any choice when she cedes her number 1 ranking to a rival. Concede to admit grudgingly, yield. To his friends, Senator Beasley concedes that his re-election campaign was badly run and that he made several damaging errors. After the votes have been counted, one candidate traditionally concedes the election to his or her opponent by giving a concession speech. If you're lucky, your boss will concede that she was wrong the last time she criticized you. But in the middle of an argument, we're not all so good at conceding that the other guy might have a good point. Accede, 1. To give in to a request or demand. 2. To give approval or consent. This time Congress refused to accede to the demands of the president, and began cutting the funding for the war. To accede usually means to yield, often under pressure and with some reluctance, to the needs or requests of others. Voters usually accede to a tax increase only when they're convinced it's the only real solution to a shortfall in government funding. A patient may accede to surgery only after the doctor assures him it's better than the alternatives. If you accede to your spouse's plea to watch the new reality show at 9 o'clock, you may get to choose something better at 10 o'clock.
Oh, and they were talking about exceed. Alright, we're gonna get fucking unhinged here.
Section 0 of English and Cantonese Dictionary. English and Cantonese Thomas Cook England, 7th edition. Hong Kong. Hong Kong. Kelly and Wash Limited. Shanghai. Singapore. Yokohama. 1907. Registered in accordance AAUSA with Section 1 of English and Cantonese Dictionary. This is a limitation of the one and
let's go.
Cantonese Dictionary by John Chambers. Read Section 1.
Alright, here we go.
A or an, meaning 1. Yat. The numerals or classifiers are given after a or an under different nouns. The most common of all numerals is go, as 一個人, one man, or a man. But where other numerals are given, they must be used in connection with the classes of nouns to which they respectively belong, as 一隻獸, a beast, 一條魚, a fish. Abacus, 算盤, an abacus, 一個算盤. Abaft, 向船尾. Abandon, 捨棄. Abate, 減少. Abbey, in Buddhism, 佛寺. An abbey, 一間佛寺. In
It's fucked
Taoism,
up.
道觀. In Roman
It's fucked up.
Catholics, 修道院. Abbot, in Buddhism, 方丈 and abbot 一位方丈 in Taoism 道長 abbreviate 減短 abbreviation as in writing 減筆 abet 幫助 abhor 憎厭 abide 注實 or 注下 or 內 ability 才能 or
才能
本領 or 能幹 abjure 誓願絕 able 能 or 會 abort 在船上 or 喺船處 abolish 廢除 abominable 百家爭
This is
abominate
this is too much. This is too much. I can't. Going insane. I'm fucking going insane. Oh my god. It's 6 a.m., so it's late.
Want to speed up your language?
4月
arm,
手臂
Sao Bay.
手臂
Sao Bay.
August,
8月
Autumn.
秋天
bathe,
洗澡
Saito.
洗澡
bathroom,
廁所
Tiso.
所
Tiso.
beautiful,
美麗
Melee. Melee.
bed,
床
Chong.
bedroom,
睡房
Soy Fong.
beer,
啤酒
Bezo.
to believe,
相信
beverage,
Song. No,
飲品
that was wrong. 1 second.
飲
beverage,
That one was really hard.
to believe,
相信
beverage,
Song.
飲品
It's fucking hard, man.
飲品
bicycle,
單車
Hold on. I turned it up
bird,
twice as fast. Can't do that.
了
birthday,
生日
Sonya.
black,
黑色
blouse,
恤衫
Sit some.
blue,
藍色
Nam sick.
boat,
船
Soon.
book,
書本
boutique,
時裝店
Yes. Hey, wizard. Good luck with the texture. I'll watch. Catch you around. Yeah, catch you.
boyfriend,
But,
男朋友
yes, the Twitch is probably best to communicate for now. Sorry, I'm just fucking going insane. Just literally well, you guys will see this detail, right? Every time you open the game. So it's worth it. It's worth it to put in that extra. That is a fucking beautiful. That is a beautiful belt buckle. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so I'll have to fix the armpit on this one, this side. And then we will. I also need to do the one more belt buckle belt. That or I don't know why it keeps on going off like that. Yeah, I've played some tabletop RPGs here and there. Actually, I made some, or I designed some tabletop RPGs in my past. Mind you that they weren't really, they were technically all done through Tabletop Simulator, but I did make some and I did play them with other people. Never got around to completely making them, but the rule sets and everything were pretty close to being done. Yeah, there's this game called Gold, Greed, and Goblins. And it was very heavily a luck game, but what made it fun was you could sort of socially engineer your way into being a bit better at the game than others. The game was almost entirely socially engineered. Okay, good. Now, within the game, the most successful people were the ones that sort of socially engineered their way to having the better relationships. It was a game of luck. Essentially, you could do things like actually, hold on. I have the rule set somewhere. Let me save this. Let's see
男朋友
Bread.
面包
Mean Bao. I know them. Hold on, give me a second. Mean Bao. It's bread. Okay, so check this out. So there is there was gold creating goblins, which are these ones. The goal is to have the most gold at the end of the game. To play, 4 players is ideal. Each player starts with 4 gold and 5 goblins of a single type. Trading of goblins, coins, or favors may be done by any player any turn. This must be done openly. Once players has announced their action, all trading must conclude within a few seconds. You may steal a coin during any player's turn. The coin is only yours if the player doesn't notice by the end of the current turn. So you can do this. And if someone doesn't notice, then and they go, yep, you're good to go. On your action, or sorry, here we go. Alright. On your turn, you may raid, poach, retreat, or shamanistic favor, all of which are on action. You may use 1 action per turn. Once the coin has landed for a given action, you flip forward. You may not go back on it. If you have no coins, you may borrow 1 to flip. You pour gobbo. Poaching. By flipping, poaching allows you to assassinate a gob or steal a coin from a chosen opponent. You must call your intent and what you are flipping for. Dead gobs go to the graveyard. So you can go something like this. You go, I'm gonna poach this guy over here, and heads for a head. And you fucking just assassinate this guy. Or the fuck? That's funny. Dead gobs go to the graveyard. Graveyard's over here. Raiding. When raiding, there's always a chance for casualties on both sides. Flip a coin to kill a poison gob. Alright, so a poison gob. After casualties, if you have a larger horde of gobs than the chosen opponent, you profit, seizing 3 coins. If your horde is not larger than the opposition, the raider must flip to profit. So that means I raid someone, and I go, fucking flip a coin to kill a guy, and then I gotta flip to see if I'm profitable if my my group is smaller than theirs. But if I'm bigger, then I can just raid and go, yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna raid. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna take 3 coins. See ya. Town. The town starts in the center with 4 gold, 4 gobs, and can be raided or poached. If the town has no coins at the beginning of a turn, the town's gobs will flip tails to steal a coin from the current player's turn, or current turn's player. If the player has no coins, the town's gobs will flip heads to kill a gob for the current turn's player. Town's actions is always done before the player's actions or trade. And then shamanistic favor. Another player can perform a shamanistic favor with you. Both players must flip. The player receiving the shamanistic favor returns a god from the dead, taking an action. Only 1 shamanistic favor can be given per turn. Every player has only 1 successful shamanistic favor to give. So if you give 1, that's it. Yeah, I made it in Tabletop Simulator. Retreating. When you are retreating, you keep all those coins for your greedy self, removing all your own from the board, you coward. Retreating takes an action. Players on the board can steal a coin from a retreating player by flipping successfully. You do not have to have goblins to steal from a retreating player. Losing. If you lose all your gobs, your coins can be raided casualty free. Once you have no gobs, you may trade away your coins. But you may not poach or raid. You are out of the game completely unless someone trades selfishly or gives you a shamanistic favor. The game ends when there is 1 player left and you count your total. And so you play the game like this with a bunch of people, and you just go clockwise, and you return something like this, and you go, yeah, I have more goblins in the town, so I'm going to raid. And I'll go, okay, heads to kill, and profit. So I immediately get 3 coins. 1, 2, 3. Right? And then it's this guy's turn. And these, hold on, I will say that these guys should have flipped to steal from me. So they would have flipped like heads to steal. So they would have had that actually. And then the town always goes first, so the town flips. Jesus Christ. They don't steal. And these guys, okay. But these guys don't have to attack the town, right? That's just sort of there as like a helpful sort of thing to ease it from players just immediately attacking each other. But you can do that if you want. That's, yeah, so here's our little goblin. And then we got the female gobs. And we got this little goblin. And then we got this little goblin. Yeah. This is so within Tabletop Simulator, I made this game. Yeah, made the rule set. So this is just one of the game types. I also did Goblin Gang. see, I think it's... Yeah, that's the one that I just loaded up. So there's this. Goblin King 3x3, 4x4. Yeah, so, well here, I think, I'm just gonna load up this one that has the most recent, yeah, 4x4. So, here. Goblin Gang. Goblins may move by one adjacent square at a time, no diagonal movement. Goblins can be repositioned within its square as much as you want during your turn. Each square has 4 positions and 8 entry/exit points. Goblins position in a corner, blocks that adjacent spot. You can only kill goblins on your turn. To kill a goblin must be flanked by an enemy or in an adjacent corner position. You may kill more than one goblin if the opportunity presents itself. You may kill your own goblins. It must be flanked and surrounded. These are not added to your kill count. The goal is to kill the most goblins upon stalemates agreed upon by players. The 4 corners do not become unplayable, and any goblins within those squares must be moved out or killed. When a player has no goblins, they get to cross out any corner within an empty square from play. And so you'd work like this. So I'd go. I'd be able to move this guy in so these 2 squares, and I could position them either which way. So I could position them here and here, there, and there, and that's one move, right? And then these guys could go, well, I'm gonna put my front up here and move this guy over to here because it's one adjacent square, and they can position wherever you want within these, and then that's the game. And then essentially your goal is to do something like this, where once it gets, let's say this character was like here or something, if there was a guy like here, right, or if there was a guy like here, and they end their turn, you can do this and kill this guy because they're surrounded. You just need essentially anyone that is flanking, so an adjacent square, to be able to kill. And yeah, it's pretty fun. Playing it with friends. This game was probably one of the most fun. Then there was Goldline, which this one wasn't as fun, I think. It had a lot of, but your goal was to essentially try and get to the middle, and with the middle grab a coin and get that coin back to this point. As many coins as you can back to that point. And all these guys had different abilities. So chill, swap places with a unit adjacent to you. Hook, that was the this girl hooks a unit in front of her along a line and pulls one unit. So it'd be like I could pull this person or I could pull that person. Sling lobs a coin over a unit. So if I had it like this, right? This guy could lob a coin over a unit. You may hop to the end of the line. You may go forward on the line half a square per turn. Oh, I think it's half a square. So it's actually a little bit bigger. But anyway, it was a fun-ish game, but it had its I don't think it was as balanced as the rest of them. So yeah, so at some point I might want to play a game or two with some people because it was fun. Yeah, anyway. Big streamer mistake. Anyway, back to it. Can you hear me? What was going on? Do you guys could you guys hear me that entire time? The hell is that supposed to mean? Including whatever AI story you were listening to while I was cooking this.
麵包
Brown.
啡色
Basic 麵包 brown bread. Okay, well, that's good. It's good. So I was talking a lot just recently, and it was all covering the game that the tabletop game that I've made. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I hope so. I hope it wasn't an issue with most people. Hold on. What is going on? Not a lot. No, not a lot. I've seen enough of this stuff to sort of know what I want. What do I think? What do I think about this? I think that I will know what I think another day. Ugh, I was going to attempt to finish this, but to oh, not this not the one. 1, 2, 3. And then this one will just be a lot bigger, a lot more center, and have that drop off. Okay. So we'll have one belt that will essentially be like this. Why has it changed so much? Did I fuck up? No, did I fuck up? No, motherfucker. I did fuck up. No, nothing was lost. See the difference here with the... This is what we want. We want this. So we're just gonna copy this. Paste it up. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, what the fuck is going on? Hold on. I need to think for a moment. Jesus. Okay. Okay, that's correct. This isn't correct. But layer 7 sucks. Layer 6 also sucks. Layer 5 also sucks. Layer 5 doesn't suck. Layer 5, I think, is where it all went wrong. Yeah, yep, that's where it went wrong. See? Right there. So if I hit save, I go out here. Hold on, wait a minute. If I hit save and I go here. Yes, okay. So essentially, all I need to do is line this up, bottom of this belt, there, turn that back on, Save and crisis averted. Thing is, just don't know what I want to do here. No, I want to keep that one as small as it is. Alright, but what we will do is we will make this one larger. That's what we will do. That is what we will do. What I am trying to resolve is how these belts should interact. I didn't like that all the belts were creating extra lines and extra. It's like already we have three pretty big or pretty busy like horizontal lines going and cutting across the characters, right? Like already we had that, and what this was doing was by creating space in between, it was creating even more visual whoa, you know, like of these horizontal things going across. It was just too much for this design. Maybe there's another design somewhere that's where it will fit, but not here. And so I was just trying to figure out that, and so it's just, but at the same time I didn't want to make the belts too thick, because then it defeats the purpose of what the goal was, you know, for these belts. which is like a bunch of skinny belts. So this is the solution that I'm coming up with. And we'll put that here. We'll hit save. We'll go over here. And that's what the solution is. It's just that now I just have to make sure to paint this in well. Right? Dude, today I feel like just a bumbling idiot. I don't know what it is about today, but I just feel like I'm making just mistake after mistake after mistake. I'll be fine, it's just... damn. At least it keeps things sort of interesting. I'm not just rendering. You're solving problems and making sure that you're doing the best for this design. But I don't know, who knows? Okay, let's see how. Oh, that looks pretty good. That looks really good. I think I can. I think I can move this down. Yeah, that's way better. That's 1,000 times better. No, don't worry. You're keeping it alive, dude. That is 1,000 times better. Wow. Right. Why is it better? The top doesn't go nearly as far, and there's another breakdown of the simplicity. You know, like instead of having, because like right before you had this line going across, and then you had the gap, so you had another line, but that meant that you had two black lines to. You had 1, 2, and then you had 3, 4, and then you had 5, 6, like black lines, and now you have 1, 2, 3 black lines to indicate like those horizontals. So you're having the black lines, you're having the amount that it goes like the stepping of, and so it's just way better, man. Yeah, visual balance, I guess, yeah. Interesting. Should be. Nice. I think I'll probably have that go up and then a little bit down here. That'd be good. It'll be very good. I want to see what this looks like on a goblin. But I will get that shit sorted later. Alright. Yeah. Alright, I am gonna fucking call it for tonight, and I have some stuff that I need to send over to other people. Just checked in and some of the gameplay in love with the super classic EverQuest vibes. Says Yvorix. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that the gameplay actually, or the way that the game plays. And so now it's just we gotta get it looking good, you know. So I'll talk to you guys later. If you guys want to support, you know, word of mouth is the best thing that you can do. I do have ways you could support me, but Jesus, don't worry about that. Alright, I'm going to bed. Is there someone that we can raid? I want to raid Dicard again. He was cool. Alright, everybody. I'll catch you all later.
You